down in Nashville. It's going to be rocking because a long national nightmare is over. Vanderbilt is in a ranked-on-ranked game, and the Commodores are a favorite. Wow, Danny, wow. Who does this say more about? How about this? Who does this say more about? Does this say more about where Vanderbilt's at on the rise, or does this say more about where LSU is at this current state in the Brian Kelly era?
I think it's both, but I think it does. I think you got to give Clark Lee and Vanderbilt and our boy Barton Simmons for building a roster that, no matter how bad LSU is, they'll just come in there and push around Vanderbilt. That's just not the scenario that we're talking about right now. Like, you look at this game and you're like, can they protect Garrett Nussmeier? That's a very real question that you have to ask, because again, kind of both ends of the spectrum. LSU's offensive line has been an issue, but normally this would be your get right game, and it is not anymore. I mean, I saw Garrett Nussmeier. I'm sure you guys saw the clip of him talking about how Brian Kelly talked to him, wants him to kind of get his swagger back. It's really hard to get your swagger back when you're not getting great protection and there's not much run game going. And I don't know if that changes much in this spot.
I will say this says more about Vandy because Vandy's just a better football team than LSU right now.
They've played better football.
Yeah. Yes.
Like that, again, like this is where we go to like on paper versus in performance. Like Vanderbilt has played better football to this point in the season.
I asked earlier on, like this month, I said, why can't Vanderbilt win the SEC? And you scoffed at me. Chip Patterson.
I did.
Bud Elliott.
I might have to.
Danny Kanell. You all scoffed. You said, Vanderbilt? Yes, Vanderbilt. And I think they're going to win this game. And I think they will take another step closer to getting to that Atlanta game. But I mean, Danny, you mentioned it. Like, LSU cannot run the ball because the offensive line absolutely stinks. They're also banged up at running back, so we don't know who's going to be fully healthy. Garrett Nussmeier has not been nearly as good. He's still above average, but he's not been nearly as good as avoiding sacks this year as he was last year. But a big part of that is because he's pretty much under duress every single time he drops back. So, the numbers are going to get you at some point. But I just don't know. Like, this is going to be a key test, I think, for Vanderbilt's defense because they have struggled against the pass in their last 3 games. And that includes Georgia State and Utah State. Like, it hasn't been great. So I think this is going to be a bigger test for them. And I also think one of the things we have to keep an eye out for is if LSU receiver Aaron Anderson is playing. He's very important to them because since he's kind of the shifty slot guy, when Garrett Nussmeier only gets about 1.3 seconds to get rid of the ball before there's a defender in his lap, Aaron Anderson is usually the guy who's open underneath, and he can be like the release valve. So his presence is going to be huge. And I also think that, like, it's going to be important for Vanderbilt's defense to get pressure without blitzing, because if you break down Garrett's numbers against the blitz, he's actually pretty good. Like, he's able to recognize it quickly and he gets the ball out. And even if they don't get a ton of yards, you're not getting, negative plays out of it. It's just when he's pressured naturally, like when you're rushing 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, if you want to do, where he like really struggles, like his numbers completely drop off a cliff. So Vandy can take advantage of this LSU offensive line and get pressure without bringing extra defenders, which will allow them to keep guys in coverage covering these guys. I think they could have a very good day. On the flip side, LSU's defense is still very good.
Yeah.
They've been particularly good, not great, but stopping the quarterback run game. And that is very important, obviously, for Vanderbilt's offense. So
they got that last week. I mean, they're coming, they're from trying to keep Lenore Sellers bottled up, now trying to keep Diego Pavia from breaking their back.
Exactly. So if LSU could keep Diego Pavia in check, can Vandy find other ways to move the ball on this LSU defense and get points on the board? Because it's not like I don't think even though LSU's offense is struggling, I don't think you can win this game 17-14. Like, I think you're going to need at least 21 points to win this one.
Last time out, we saw Diego Pavia 2 really, really costly red zone turnovers. Can't do that against this LSU defense. And I guarantee you they're going to be trying to strip the ball out. They're going to be, their defense is good enough to slow down Diego Pavia. So he's got to contain a little bit that swashbuckler mentality that gets a little bit loose sometimes, trying to make a little bit too much happen. This is one where I think he's got to manage the game a little bit better, which can be hard for him to do because it's kind of who he is. He plays that way.
Our best bets, of course, are going to be coming on Thursday in the Locks pod, but I believe Vandy's one of our big over teams this year. LSU, for reasons that should be plainly obvious, kind of been a low scoring, mostly dead under team this year. Pace, scoring, what's our oil and water? How do we think this ends up breaking down?
Slow.
Slow.
I mean, I think that just the way Vandy's offense is designed, if things are going the way that they want them to, this is going to be a lower possession game just because they run a lot and they will be churning clock. But I don't have Bud's pace numbers in front of me. That's the one thing I don't have without him here.
They've shown a little bit of gas. Danny, what's your what's sort of the kind of score that you imagine here?
I would say lower scoring. What's the total? 48.5. Yeah, I'd probably say lower scoring. I think LSU's defense is good enough to make this a game, and I don't trust LSU's offense to put up numbers against many people at all.
Yeah. Last thing, and to your point, like there was low scoring against South Carolina at home. Now they're going to go on the road. Like it's, I'm not expecting.
There's also the 11 a.m. local kick, which I always, on those early kickoffs, I'm always sort of an under type guy, just slower starting for everybody.
It just feels right, you know,
right?
Just as you're watching it, it's just, no, come on. Whoa. Got a long day ahead of us, boys. Let's take it easy on these touchdowns. Let's just warm up into the day.
I do worry. We had a couple people asking about the job security status of Brian
that was
Kelly.
Gonna be my one last note before we get out of here.
I do worry that if Vanderbilt's up like 7 in the third quarter late, I do wonder if there's some yelling on the sidelines. There's some significant like issues that would stop cropping up for LSU, dysfunction, unhappiness. I can't believe we're losing to those guys because they're Vanderbilt, and it could get ugly. I worry about a quit factor from LSU.
It is wild to me, and I understand it, but it is wild to me that LSU is 5-1 and Brian Kelly's on the hot seat.
Yes. And they listen. This is a big week.
Anything happens. What's his buyout? Do we have our buyout Google situation? Right.
It's like, I don't think they're very good, but maybe, we should wait until they lose the games before we fire the coach.
No,
True.
I like it because it's, I mean,
Kelly to Penn State already. That's a good one.
Tennessee, LSU, you got, even Ole Miss being undefeated, and we'll maybe get like a quick note on this one. Hey, Texas A&M's got to go to Arkansas. We got a lot of teams with really good records that we're going to, the purifying fire will find out what we've got from some of these teams in the SEC. It's a good week for that for sure. Well, coming up on the other side,